Here we are talking about the campaigns feature today. I am Brittany. I'm joined by Robert and Margaret, and we're going to be going through some things today. If you have any questions, please do put them in the question and answer area, and Robert will be managing those there. And certainly any that we want to answer in context, he'll ask that as well. And Robert, feel free to interrupt me at any point if there's a point that we need to clarify. And we're going to get started. So the campaigns feature, a few things we're going to talk about today. First of all, why campaigns? We're going to talk about some available templates. We're going to edit the templates. We're going to test the campaigns, look at campaign analytics and reporting. We're going to create a customer tag just so that we can figure out exactly how to do that so that they can be applied to campaigns. And then we're going to also look at some best practices. So why campaigns? Most of you probably already use campaigns. You may not be familiar with the campaigns feature within Commerce7, so we'll certainly be diving into that. There are a couple of reasons that campaigns are so important and effective in our space, in the winery or craft beverage space. And that's because we have such an interesting, unique connection with the customers, or I should say the customers have that unique and interesting connection to the winery, very different than other industries. And that's usually because there's been some sort of experience that's happened with the wine or the winery. And that could be that they came to the tasting room, perhaps they had a really special anniversary dinner at a restaurant where your wine was served. Perhaps you were at a friend's house or they were at a friend's house and, the friends were big ambassadors of the winery and they introduced you to them in your story. So there is this magic that is a connection that's forged that isn't in other industries. So it's really, really cool. So it's important to not forget about that magic and know that actually because of that magic, the customers want to hear from you. So if you are maintaining some best practices, which we'll talk about later, those customers are actually really interested in what you have to say. And therefore, they're much more engaged. Anyway, so that's the first part. Second part, of course, is the revenue part. And basically 20 to 30% of revenue is or can be generated directly from campaigns. So it's not insignificant. And again, very important to our industry. So with that, let's head over into Commerce7 and we'll take a look at campaigns. So I'm on the dashboard here and I'm going to head into marketing. And by default, I land on the campaigns page. Now, first of all, I can certainly do some searching up here by searching for campaign names. I'm going to move our beautiful faces here so I can get over here. We can also filter by status. And so in this case, I'm going to, let's see, we're going to do draft and executed, and we're going to apply that filter. And now you'll see that I'm just seeing my executed and my drafts. The other thing to bring to your attention is that once they are executed, you'll see at a glance here, all the analytics having to do with your executed campaigns. So you can see your sends, your opens, your clicks, as well as your bounces. And when you have, excuse me, and when any sales have been generated from this campaign, you will also be able to see those as well. And we'll look at those in a few minutes after we execute another one. So before I head into the campaign templates, the one thing that I want to also bring to your attention is that there are a few things in campaigns that auto-populate for you, and that is based on settings and general. And the things that are brought in automatically are, for instance, the font, the alternate background color, and we'll be looking at that in a minute in the campaigns themselves, as well as the logo, and also the from name and the from email address. Those can be edited on the fly in the campaigns, but the rest of those things do automatically come in. so that you have consistent branding. So I just wanted you to know where's that logo coming from? It's coming from settings. So back into marketing, and let's go look at the various templates. We have 5 here to choose from. And I want you to think about, when you're thinking about doing a campaign, the important thing is to, okay, what's my goal? What is it that I'm doing here? And when you figure that out, that is the template that you'll start with. That will be your jumping off point. So there are 5 different ones here to kind of start with. The first one is the welcome campaign. And this is specifically if you are coming from another e-commerce provider, coming over into Commerce7. And this is basically telling your customers, hey, we've made a change. You don't need to be concerned when you go and it looks a little bit different than the way it used to. This is where you can go in and reset your password and manage your account, et cetera, et cetera. It's basically letting your customers know, hey, there's been a change. Don't be startled. This is where you go now. So it's a great thing to do prior to sending your first, for instance, release email. This is a really good one to send to your customers. The second one is the product launch. And this is generally going to be featuring one product. You can feature more than one, but generally this one is going to be more than one product, or excuse me, one product that is special that you want to kind of really call out. So maybe it's an Old Vine Zin that you do only every few years, and you don't have very much of it, and you really want to feature that. Or this time of year, maybe it's a special gift pack. You're like, hey, get in here and get this gift pack. What's great about this is that it features that. In fact, I'm going to show you what happens here. If I click on this particular block, and we'll go into this more in detail in a minute, but let's say we were going to be featuring this Cabernet. You'll see it automatically brings in all the Cabernet information, all the product information, the pricing, et cetera. And then there's this handy add to cart, so that when they click on the add to cart from their email, it automatically adds it, makes it really streamlined to go and get that particular thing that you are featuring. So that's pretty cool. Whoops. Go back to our templates here. The next one is the sale template. So if you are featuring a sale on one or more products, you can go ahead and put those here. Again, you'll choose each of these products. It'll pre-populate with all the stuff for those specific products. And again, we have these handy add to carts. And we have the shop now. And the shop now is great. It takes you directly to your shop, so your online store. Generally, this picture will be something that is representative of the store as a whole. For instance, a great time of the year, we would probably put a picture of, I don't know, the Christmas lights in the tasting room, for instance, something like that. So something that's more kind of broad, and then they would shop now, and it takes you directly to the store. And then finally, keep going back to the wrong page here. Finally, we have the blank template where you can start from scratch. It just has your logo up there, and then you can start adding blocks from there. So what I would like to do now is build one of these guys so that you see the architecture and see how everything can be edited. So the one that I'm going to do is the shop now. And I'm going to name this actually Holiday 2022. This is going to be internal facing. The 2, so this is going to be the tagged segment of customers that you want this campaign to go to. It does need to be a tagged segment, and we'll be creating a tag in a little bit so you can see how to do that from queries, but you will need a tagged segment. So in this case, I'm going to do my rosé purchasers because this particular gift pack that I'm going to be featuring in this campaign includes the rosé that they love so bad, but it also has the 2 other wines. So I'm thinking I can kind of upsell to this particular segment of people. Here's my from email and my from name. Again, these are being pre-populated from the general settings, but these can be edited on the fly if you need to do that as well. My email subject, let's see here. Let's do gift packs are here. And then email preview text. They're now available. And then down here, we get into the nuts and bolts of the actual campaign. So each of these, we call them blocks. You click on each block and you notice that they highlight with a blue perimeter here when you're working with that particular block. So here I am in this logo or header block. And what we'll see here, logo position, I can either be centered or I can be on the left. In this case, I'm going to keep it centered. This next block is actually the title block. And let's change this default language here. Let me see here. I did some little default language up here. I did some new language up here. There we go. And then here we can decide, okay, do I want it on the left or the right? Oh, that's kind of weird. I like it in the center. And then you can do your text size. Right now it's large. Do I want it medium or do I want it small? I actually want it medium. I think that looks the best. Now here's the alternate background color. Right now it's toggled on, and my alternate background color in general settings is black. But if I don't want that, it'll just be white. In this case, I actually do want it black. We're going to grab an image. So here I am in the image block here. I'm going to change this image to this guy. Here's my gift pack. Very festive. And down here, I can put in some alternate text. I'm just going to say gift pack here. This would only show if the customer's email client wasn't displaying the image, because they have it set up to not display the image. It would just say gift pack. And then here's the link that if someone clicks on the image itself, this is the link it's going to go to, which is a link to your shop. Down here, you can decide to be full width or not. Let's see what that looks like. That's a little bit too much for me. I'm going to say, no, I just want it that big. And do I want the alternate background color on this? Well, let's see what it looks like. Oh, whoops. Sorry, our faces are in the way again. Okay. Interesting. Now this is very New Year's, isn't it? But I think I'm going to keep it with the white background in this case. All right, our faces need to go away. There we go. All right, we're going to do that. And then down here, we finally have this information, which is the text above the Shop Now link. First of all, I can change the Shop Now to something else. I'm going to change it to Get It Now. And let's change the content to, I'm going to grab this content here. All right. And I'm going to make it medium. Yeah, that looks good. And centered alignment, great. And I am going to put the background color here because I like it kind of bookending with my background color on my image. I think that looks pretty cool. A couple of things I do want to call out before we test this or preview it is that you can make changes as far as display order here. One thing you can do is, for instance, so you're clicked into a particular block. Well, first of all, if I didn't want this block here, I could trash can it. You can always trash can it. You can move it. So there's this kind of move icon here, and you click and drag, and you can put it into a different spot. So you can do that if you want. I'm going to actually move it back down because I like it there more. And you can also, let's see here. Oh, the other thing you can do is down here, you can add another block. So here's this one. And so there's this little icon that appears. You float your cursor over the perimeter and you'll see a little plus sign here and a little plus sign here. So if I wanted to add another block at the bottom, I click on that, and then you can choose one of these blocks. In this case, we could do the club here. And when you choose the club, you can choose a specific club, and then it automatically changes to that particular club name. You can decide to show the title or not, show the sign up button or not, show the content or not. And then you can also change your content here if you would like on the fly. All right. So I see that this actually changed for me, didn't it? Let's see here. Let's change this to that. And we'll leave that down there. Okay, so here we are. It's looking good. I'm going to now go ahead and review it. And here you can see at a glance, kind of, it has a little preview here. You can also preview the full email. If you click on here, a little modal shows up and you can see the whole thing. Note that when you click on these here, it's not going to go anywhere because this is just the preview. When you do get the test sent to you, that's where you can test these buttons. Closing that guy. Also, just at a glance, you want to make sure, okay, it's going to my 19 rosé purchasers. My from email, my from name is correct. Subject name, great. Preview text, great. Everything looks great. Note that we do force you to test it before you're allowed to send it. And this is obviously a really, really good feature. I know that there was definitely one time where I sent it and I hadn't tested, and I was very sorry for that. So this is a great feature. So I'm going to go ahead and send that test, and you can decide to edit this email. You can send it to multiple people on your team if you'd like. Send the email. Okay, awesome. So that is sent. And now I'm going to put that over here. All right. So first of all, let me just show you kind of what that looks like. I'm going to go look here, and this is what it looks like. Great. And now from here, I could click on the shop now. It'll take me straight to my store. Make sure that all of that looks good. All righty. So now you'll see, because I've sent the test, it does give me the option to schedule it. And if I do that, I can click there and do a specific send date and time, or I can decide to send now. So I'll go ahead and click send now. And now it's being sent. Now you'll see that it's in a processing status. Once it's completely sent, then that changes, the status changes. It says we're sending 19 customers, and as people start opening them, you'll start seeing some of these other things populate. All righty, so back over here on the campaigns page, you'll see here now it's been executed, so it's complete. Now, word on sending, we do send the emails in batches, and that's to create what are called trust flags on the customer emails themselves. And this helps with bounce rates. It helps with the speed of sending. It helps keep our email server so that it has a sterling reputation out there in internet land, and makes it so that the emails aren't going into spam as much, etc. So as you create more emails, your customers' emails will be marked as trusted. And that means that the time between the batches getting sent for you, for your brand, is going to decrease, meaning that the batches will be sent quicker and quicker as more and more of your customers' emails are marked as trusted in the system. What does trusted mean? It means that the customer is taking an action on the email. They're clicking on it. They're signing up for the club. They are making a purchase. They're doing something with this email so that it's marked at, this person actually wants to interact with this email, engage with your brand. So then it's marked as trusted. If you have too many bounces, or if you have too many untrusted emails, your campaign could get blocked. And there are certain things that you can do to unblock the campaign. Certainly, if you have any questions about any of this, how the batches are sent, how they're marked as trusted, how to unblock a campaign, there are resources out there in our knowledge base. You just go ahead and search for those, and you'll get all the answers that you need, or certainly reach out to us in chat and we can help you with that. But having said all that, that's how they're sent. They're sent in batches. And if it's a batch of, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Margaret and Robert, but I think if it's over 50 emails, then it's sent in batches. Is that correct?
So that is not correct. So basically what happens is we have this algorithm that determines if your email list is trusted or not trusted. So basically, it's not about the number of emails that you're sending out, it's about the validity of these emails. So basically, we calculate this trusted metric based on if they're opening your email marketing campaigns, if they are purchasing online through your e-commerce channel, and a few other factors that we keep internally to keep an eye on these lists. Basically, once we determine that 50% of your senders are trusted senders, so people who have interacted with your brand, people who are actively opening these emails, at that point, we will not send them in batches. However, before that point, if less than 50% are trusted, then we will continue to send them in batches until we reach the threshold of about 50% trusted. So that's where it's either sent in batches or all at once.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Okay, so let's see. As far as what am I going to do next? Let's look at analytics, and then we're going to create a tag, a customer tag, and then we're going to head into best practices. So when we look at analytics, there are a couple of places where we can find those. I'm going to pull up this particular executed campaign because it actually has some sales on it. And so here you'll see a summary. At a glance, who it's sent to, how many opens, how many clicks, and then we see revenue here, which is super cool. That's one of the reasons I absolutely love the fact that the campaigns are within Commerce7, because everything is under one umbrella and you can really, really see what these campaigns are generating very easily. So you can take a look at all of that here. You can also head over into reports. And here we are under order reports, and we have a sales by email campaign. And let's actually go back to, I believe it was June. Yeah, there we go. So here we are. Obviously, I just have this one campaign in here that generated some money, but here it is. And if you float your cursor over the bar graph, it'll show you there, as well as down at the bottom. You can see it kind of broken out as well. So as I mentioned before, campaigns are sent to tagged segments, and you may or may not know how to do that or where to do that. So I'm just going to briefly show you where to do that. You can certainly tag folks one at a time, but you can also do it in queries. So we're going to head over into marketing and into queries. And again, it needs to be a customer tag. So you can create customer tags out of your queries. I'm going to actually head over into the order queries, and let's create one. Let's do our rosé purchasers, because that was the one where I was going to be sending. I was going to be sending my rosé purchasers. So found in order conditions, I want a particular SKU purchased is equal to, and this is going to be my 21 rosé. I'm going to add another condition here. And I want, let's see here, order date greater than, I want people who purchased the rosé this year. So January 1st, going to add that order query. We're going to execute it. I don't need the notification. I'm going to refresh my screen so we can see some results here. Okay, we have 122 orders that contain the rosé. I want to tag those people so that I can send them that special campaign. So when we go over to tag results, you have the choice of adding a new tag or updating an existing tag. In this case, I'm updating an existing tag. So I'm going to click on that guy. And then you have the choice of an order tag or a customer tag. And this is where the magic happens. You need to choose customer because it's customer tags that are tied to campaigns. So I'm going to choose customer here, going to choose the tag that I want to add to, which is my rosé purchasers, and I want to update that tag. So that's that. So now that tag is ready to roll for my campaign. I could have created a new tag as well, you know, if it wasn't existing. So that's very briefly how that would work. Certainly, if you are new to queries or you need to do different kinds of queries, go take a look at our queries documentation. I have a whole bunch of videos and everything very specific to the queries that should really be helpful. Or ask us if you have any questions. I'm going to talk about some best practices at this point. So I'm going to go back over to my slides and just talk about that a little bit. Okay, best practices. So number one is to keep it simple. There's a reason, very specific targeted reason why Commerce7's campaigns tool has such simple designs. They're simple and clear. And that is because that's what folks engage with the most. Make sure that your fonts are large, clear. You don't want a ton of text. You want to be brief. People don't read. People don't read. We wish they did. They don't. So you want to make sure that your message is brief and to the point. A lot of folks, most folks these days are looking at, are accessing their email on their phone, and you want to make sure it's very, very clear. You want to make sure you're a photographer. You don't need a professional photographer by any means, but just make sure that the photography is decent. It's not too busy. It's cropped so that it's really, really easy to see what it is, and your customer's eyes know where to go. You don't want a whole bunch of images. One hero image is usually really effective. If you are wanting a couple of them, that's great. Just make sure again that they're very targeted. You don't want to throw a bunch of images in there just to throw images in there. Be very strategic about it. And then finally, definitely have a strong call to action. Do not bury your purchase here link within the text. Again, people are on their phones. They're looking for a button. They're looking for, okay, that's great. Yeah, I want this. Where? And they don't want to have to read through and then find, make sure that you have a strong call to action there. Buttons are great. Next, another really important thing, don't over communicate. You want to communicate only when you have something to say. Don't communicate weekly. I've been on hundreds of mailing lists for wineries, and there are definitely those who love to over communicate. And what happens then, no matter how much of a connection a person has with your brand, eventually it's just going to get deleted or, God forbid, unsubscribe because they just don't want that much communication. So just be very strategic about it. When you have something to say, when you have a major release, when you get a 97 from Parker, when you have, you want to talk about, you want to show the beautiful mustard that is growing between the rows, great. Those are wonderful. just make sure that it's something that is important for you to communicate to your people. And then finally down here, remember that it's okay to not sell on every single campaign. I started this talking about the magic that we have with our customers. And if you're constantly, hammering them with sell, again, that kind of, it's a little bit, they become a little bit blind to it, or a little bit deaf to it. But sometimes every once in a while, invoke or evoke the magic that they remember from their visit with you, or from, just being evocative is really, really powerful, and it's really authentic, and it creates connection. When I was thinking about this morning, I was like, oh, what's an example? And when I was working at Redcar for 2.5 years, I was there, and my commute was from Healdsburg to Sebastopol or Grayton every day for 2.5 years. And it was the most beautiful commute in the world, past all the, it was just beautiful, through the oak trees and obviously all of the vineyards through West County. And, but I'll tell you, after a couple of months, I was just like, you just don't, you take it for granted. The customers don't take that for granted, because they love hearing about it. They love seeing it. All of that to say that if I were at a winery right now, I would probably, take a few pictures or even a short video of my commute, just to show people what it looks like, wintertime coming through. I don't know. It's really special, and it makes them, again, feel that connection and feel like they're there and feel like they're a part of your story. So a long-winded thing there, but I think it's important. That is what I've got. So Margaret and Robert, what have I forgotten, and do we have any questions that can be addressed?
So right now, Betty had just asked about the font size. So we're just going through some questions, and we just communicated that it's a 16-point font size for the content blocks. She has another question here about the Digimatic app showing analytics for sales from each email. Do you think that Commerce7 email analytics for sales would be more accurate? Well, if we could, Brittany, could we look at the events tab in the campaign and look at the conversions, so we could get a better idea of what's going on?
Oh,
when
definitely.
You execute the campaign.
Let's go into this one that has, sorry, I didn't go through these various tabs. Sorry about that. Okay.
Perfect. Alrighty, so I guess we would see from here, right, if a conversion did occur from an email campaign that was opened by a customer, and then you would be able to review on the next tab, on the conversions tab, to see if an order was placed, what the order total was. And that would be in terms of like any sort of analytics from that campaign, what type of revenue or sales were generated.
Awesome.
And then next here we have, thank you for the test on blank marketing status. Okay, is there a link that you can put at the bottom of the email for unsubscribe like MailChimp has, or do they have to contact us or log into their account on the website? So for the campaign, Brittany, would you be able to bring up your test campaign in your email just so we can review that? Did we execute it already?
Yes, we executed it. Let me go grab it.
Perfect.
Here
Because
it
I'm
is.
relatively certain that you'll see an unsubscribe button towards the bottom. Right there. Beautiful. Awesome. Yep. Alrighty. So bear with me here, Britt.
Oh, please.
So awesome. So that answers that question here. So yeah, there is the unsubscribe button in the campaign. And I guess, yeah, and then we have that one was answered. So 16-point is great. Awesome. And then she did mention cool analytics. Yeah, definitely great that you have an overview right from the campaign after it's been executed to see those conversions that have occurred, to see any unsubscribes, bounces that have happened. That way you can address those directly with your customers as well. Another thing, right, again, and I'm sure, Brittany, you touched on this a bit, is just making sure that email list is clean. That way we really avoid having any campaigns being blocked. And just really want to express that, when we're blocking campaigns, it's simply to protect your email reputation and our email reputation. It's not to stop stop you from having those emails going out, but just really want to stress the importance of having clean data. You know, that way the emails are valid and the campaigns are successfully sent to real customers as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that was a pretty great overview, Brittany. I don't know. I'm waiting here to see if any other questions pop up, but
Yeah. And if there are questions on anything, we are,
Yeah.
you know, even aside from this, if you have any burning questions, we're happy. We have a few more minutes here, so we could certainly address anything else if you would like. But yes, thank you everyone for listening to my spiel. I hope it was helpful.
Great for the time of year that we're in, definitely with the holidays.
Yeah,
So I mean, very
definitely.
appropriate. Agreed.
Give it another minute or so here.
Not seeing anything in the Q&A just yet, but I will let you know if anything pops up.
Right. Nothing, huh?
I think you were pretty comprehensive there, Britt. Oh, wait, we have a question here.
Oh,
So from
yay.
Sylvia. So corporate sales, I was not able to get a summary receipt. So I think this is, if I'm correct, with respect to corporate orders, Sylvia. I'm just going to type here. So with the corporate orders at this time, there's not like a one PDF receipt for a final total. What we typically would recommend is from the shipments. So in step 2, Britt, if you don't mind popping over to your corporate orders.
Yep.
Beautiful.
So let's see here. Should we just go into any of these?
I think candy cane looks good
Let's do candy cane.
on step 2 for the shipments. There's only one shipment in Britt's test here, but you could use the actions option here. And then you
Yep.
can export the shipments. You could also, like, basically from the order screen, you could print like in bulk the receipts as well. But to be very transparent, at this time, there's not a feature that allows you to do like a summary receipt. This would be something that you would need to create internally for that customer. Definitely, you know, from our perspective, with it being such a large gift order for that customer, we really would stress, you know, customizing it for that specific order. But currently, there's not a functionality that allows you to print like one PDF receipt for the order. So you would need to export these shipments and then on your end, create a final receipt for that gifter.
And just so you guys know, that is something that we are looking at and configuring to get to the product team for possible future implementation, because we do understand that this is something that is wanted and needed. So we're working on it. It'll hopefully be coming relatively soon.
Exactly. Just waiting here, Brett. We'll see if anything else pops up.
Okay. I guess that's about it, huh?
Quiet Friday before the holidays are starting, I suppose.
Yes. So yeah, if anybody has any questions about any of this, feel free to reach out to us in support or go to the documentation. There's a lot on campaigns. And other than that, have a fantastic holiday time, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Thanks. I think Margaret's still back there too. Thank you. Thank you. And bye.
Bye, everyone.